Well, let's very quickly do Encounters at the End of the World, which is the new Werner Herzog film. I mean, I cannot get enough of Werner Herzog. He's at a very interesting point in his life because he's done an awful lot of documentary work alongside the feature films, because the features he's best known for are things like, Fitzcarraldo, Aguirre, Wrath of God, all of which are about characters in extremis. And then he's done these documentaries, these very strange documentaries, like Little Dieter Needs to Fly, which ended up being his first real Hollywood movie. He made a sort of, a Hollywood movie version of it, Rescue Dawn. And then he's made things like, there was a very strange movie called The Wild Blue Yonder, in which he took a bunch of science film but gave it a science fiction narration about Brad Dourif being an alien who came down to Earth, but aliens are all rubbish, and they tried to start up a shopping mall and it didn't work out very well. And he gets footage of underwater divers underneath the ice caps, and says that in fact what they are is spacemen arriving at the frozen atmosphere of Earth and then coming into Earth's freezing atmosphere. And it's all narrated by Werner Herzog. And it's somewhere between fiction and reality, but not. Actually, that was narrated by Brad Dourif. So now we get, in a way, the flip side of Wild Blue Yonder, which is the proper documentary, in which essentially Werner Herzog goes with one camera. It's him and a cameraman. I mean, this is real stripped down filmmaking, but it looks, I saw it at the National Film Theatre on their big at BFI South Bank, I think it's now referred to, on their big screen. It looked terrific. So he goes to this remote place, Antarctica, to go and speak to people who are out there, to discover what it is about them and their lives that have taken them out to the end of the world. And he says very specifically he didn't want to make a movie about fluffy penguins, although at one point he does go out and sees some fluffy penguins, and he goes out with a penguin expert who he obviously upsets by asking whether penguins ever get psychotic and crazy. And then, of course, it being a Herzog documentary, there's this pack of, the stuff that everyone knows about penguins, but they're all incredibly brilliant, they do this amazing stuff, and it's all fabulously choreographed, and they all know exactly where they're going, and there's sort of a demonstration of how society can just function absolutely brilliantly.
And they get married as
well. They get married,
yeah.
yes, and then half of them are gay, which is brilliant, and they have civil ceremonies, and that's terrific as well. And I'm thinking ideal society, good for it. Herzog turns up there with his camera. What does he find? He finds the lone gunman in the penguins, right? His camera picks out the one penguin who has lost the plot.
And does it then shoot Werner Herzog?
No. That's right.
And then you can film a documentary.
Exactly. Who is heading off tangentially to the rest of the pack, obviously heading straight for oblivion. Of course, Herzog finds him. I mean, Herzog said once, and it's absolutely true, that he was like a magnet for crazy people. And it's true. He's also a magnet for crazy penguins on the evidence of this. So it's one of those documentaries which essentially, if what you like is philosophy, but with extraordinary images, underwater cathedrals of ice and, things that you really haven't seen before, extraordinary oral sounds and interviews with people who really are living on the very edge of the world, the very edge of existence, all speaking to Werner Herzog, everything in this Bavarian monotone. See, what Herzog's main thesis is that there is we live in a godless universe, okay? Chaos, hostility, and murder are the underlying traits. And I interviewed him on stage at the NFT, and I said to him the thing that I've been wanting to say to him for ages and ages and ages, which was, if it's true that we live in a godless universe with nothing bringing how is it that something as beautiful as your films can exist? And there was a lovely moment. This was a few months ago, because it turns out somebody said that Stuart Lee, the comedian, was talking about Richard Hawking on television the other day and said something eerily similar to this. So I just want to say...
Richard Hawking, is that the same? Is it Richard Dawkins or Stephen Hawking?
No, Alistair Bing Bong.
Alistair Darling.
Alistair Ding Dong, yeah, same. But you know what I'm like with names? Is it in a movie? I don't know. The incredibly intelligent one, History of Time.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. What did I say?
Richard Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. Well, but I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm just doing...
confuse a stupid person.
Forget that. I'm just trying to prove that I said this before. Anyway, so I was sitting there with Werner Herzog on stage.
I've forgotten what we're talking about.
And I said, I can't believe, if the world is truly godless and if there is no order in the universe, then how come it can produce something as beautiful as your films? And Werner Herzog took a deep breath and he leant forward into the microphone and he said, I stem the tide. And I thought, that's it. You and me, Werner, are joined at the hip forever.